Hi everyone, it's Gio for footballbook.pro. These are my Week 8 picks for the 2010 NFL season. I'm a little bit under the weather this week, so I'll try to make it brief. The first game we're going to look at is Denver and San Francisco. Now, this game is being played in London, England, and it's only a 1-point spread. San Francisco is actually the favorite in this game. Both those teams lost pretty badly last week. Denver had their heads handed to them by Oakland, 59 to whatever it was, and San Francisco lost to previously winless Carolina. Now, I might forgive Denver a little bit more. I'll give them a mulligan. It was against a division rival who has been beating them, or at least covering the spread a lot recently. With San Francisco, they lost to maybe what was the worst team in the league, and in a game that's just at 1 point, it's basically a pick-and game. I'm going to actually get the point, and I'm going to take the Broncos +1 in that game. The second game is Tennessee at San Diego. The Chargers are favored by 3.5 points. Now, if you look at the stats, you'll see that the Chargers are #1 in offensive yards and #1 in defensive yards. Now, there's a real reason for this. Don't be fooled. The Chargers go up and down the field, and every time they're about to score, they either get picked off for a defensive touchdown, or they punt the ball and it's returned. They kick off the ball as returned. The Chargers move up and down the field at will. They always have the ball, but they never score points. And this is why the stats are skewed. The other team doesn't have the ball. They still outscore San Diego every week. It's just they don't put up offensive numbers. If by comparison, New England is something like 19th in the league in yards gained, but they're #1 in points scored. So it's all about scoring points. You can put up as many yards as you want. Doesn't mean you're going to win the game. We're going to take the Titans +3.5, and don't be surprised if Tennessee doesn't beat the Chargers outright, who the Chargers stink this year. The third game is Miami at Cincinnati. The Dolphins were robbed last week. It's quite obvious, and Cincinnati's spinning their wheels going nowhere. They managed to play about 10 real good minutes in that game against Atlanta last week. Oddly enough, Miami has won all of their games on the road, and I think the same thing is going to happen too. We get the points. It's actually 2.5, so we're going to take. Actually, it's only 1 point. We're going to take the Dolphins +1 in this game. I think they're going to win it outright as well. The fourth game is Seattle at Oakland, and basically that's another pick-'em game. I already told you it's a 2.5 point spread by the Raiders. I already told you you already know what the Raiders did last week. Seattle doesn't travel very well. They might win a game occasionally on the road, and they won their road game a couple ago, and I don't see them winning 2 in a row on the road. It's a small price to pay. The Raiders' record is 3-4. It can actually be 4-3, if not 5-2, if not for a couple of bad bounces and a missed field goal here and there. I think it's a small price to pay. Take the Raiders and pay the 2.5 points. And then finally, it's the Monday nighter between Indianapolis and Houston. Indy are at home and are favored by 5.5 points. Now, I'm not saying that Houston's going to sweep that series. They're not. I'll be surprised if they win, but 5.5 points is a bit much this week, as both Joseph Adai is hurt and a couple of key guys in the receiving corps for Indy. Dallas Clark is gone for the year, and there might be a couple of other guys that, if they even do play, are pretty gimpy. The division dogs are still doing really well against the spread. They're 23-10, and they're still they're actually 18-15 straight up to date. So a win wouldn't shock me, but I'm certainly going to take the Texans to cover. So in that game, take the Texans with the 5.5 points. Take Houston, and I've only got 3 over/under picks this week. They're all over. It started off a lot of unders. Now the last couple of weeks it's sort of gone to the over, and I sort of like 3 of them. Miami, Cincinnati, that's 43.5. I'll take the over. Jacksonville at Dallas, 43. I'm going to go over on that one. It's funny, Tony Romo, who puts up a lot of points, doesn't win games now. Don't be surprised if Dallas doesn't start winning a lot of games. And then there's the Pittsburgh-New Orleans game. That's 44. I'm going to take the over in that game as well. And our suicide pick this week, for fun, we'll go with Kansas City. They get winless Buffalo, so I think Buffalo will continue their march towards I know in 16th season. They might not do it this year, but they're pretty bad. And I like taking different teams every week. I also have more picks on my website. If you want to go to see them all. It's www.footballbook.pro, or email me at gio@footballbook.pro, and I'll return your emails. Okay, good luck everyone. Let's take the man's money, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.